I will go then straight to Clean BC, because that is one of the most exciting pieces of our budget that is definitely got some tax implications. When we create programs, the opportunity for us to drive change and drive innovation to new ways that will support the future. This is where the rubber hits the road, and we actually have the opportunity with the PST reductions on zero emission vehicles to drive people towards finding new ways to reduce their carbon footprint in their lives, whether it's a brand new vehicle. It's only been recently in my life that I was ever able to afford a brand new vehicle. But to have a reduction in PST for used electric vehicles tells us that we're starting to move forward on that, in that world where more and more people are buying and have them long enough that there actually are now available for consumers to buy used vehicles, electric vehicles. And having an exemption helps us support that move forward. One of the other exemptions that we were talking about, and this is the one that I'm kind of excited about, is supporting the hydrogen strategy. Because when you say no carbon emissions, many years ago, I had a long conversation with a fellow from an environmental nonprofit, and we were talking about how do we get to a place where we don't have emissions. And this was probably in the 80s, which I remember a whole lot better than the previous speaker. And he saw hydrogen as our future. So I'm really excited that we have industry in this province that is working on this as an innovative direction for us to go, and for us to be able to support that innovation through tax credits for technology. It's going to put us on the map. The other one is the tax credits on the skilled trades, on job training. This is particularly around shipbuilders, but I wanted to share a story about the importance of the trades and what it brings to British Columbians. When I had an uncle who lived to the age of 99, and my mother's family were farmers and laborers. And during Second World War, two of the brothers were able to join the military, and they got their uniforms and their shiny brass buttons. And my uncle Charlie, was not able to join. He had flat feet and bad eyesight, and so he had to remain on the farm. And there's a photograph of him and his two brothers in front of a barn, and he was, dirty from having worked in the field, and he had such a frown on his face, and of course the other brothers were standing there very proudly. And when the opportunity came, my uncle went to Chicago and he got his certificates for refrigeration. I can't even remember what the other one was, but it gave him a career and it gave him a sense of pride. And as British Columbians, we all need different kinds of workers. And so if we can support through our tax system for trades to flourish and for people to say, yeah, that's an honorable profession for me to get into. It's an honorable career for me to take on. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And so a tax credit, while it sounds very dry and kind of accounting kind of stuff, it actually makes a difference in people's lives. And so when you think about supporting skills people in the skilled trades sector. Hope you'll think of my Uncle Charlie and know what it means to have a sense of pride in your work. There was a few. I wanted to just reflect quickly on the exemption for the vacancy and speculation tax. While people are still reeling from the floods, and that's an area where the tax applied. And I just heard the Minister of Finance speaking to that, pulling that back while people are still trying to struggle. And this is part of what we do to help respond during a disaster. Sometimes they feel like little things, but when you're dealing with your everyday life and then something else hits you and something else hits you, and if this is something else that is not going to hit you, you might not think about it at the time, but later as you reflect on it, it's like, okay, that was one bill that didn't come in. So it's the kind of forethought that we need in a budget implementation to make sure that people are taken care of. I want to take just a moment to talk about the underreporting of vehicle prices. When people buy secondhand vehicles, it's an easy place for people to think that it's, I'll just shave off a little bit off of how much that vehicle costs so I don't have to pay as much tax on it. But other people are following the law. And so when other people don't follow the rules, everybody suffers. So we're always trying to find a way to a level playing field. And this is one of those taxes that we're trying to find that way to create that level playing field. And it's because it simply is not fair for one person to be reporting and paying their taxes and someone else not. And I find it kind of odd that you would not want to see a level playing field for everyone. That's what a fair BC is about. And finally, I just want to talk about the holdbacks for ministers. When I heard, I didn't hear it, I read it, that there were these holdbacks for ministers. We are in the middle of a pandemic, and people are suffering, and our ministers are rising to the challenge of protecting British Columbians and supporting them as best they can. And in doing that, they're getting penalized. And that just didn't sound right to me then. And while we're in these circumstances, I think that it's time for us to find some redress for that. I was trying to think of an example of when I was raising my kids, and what do you do when you're trying to motivate them? You're trying to find ways to give them an incentive to do the right thing, and not hide and not tell you the truth, or not do what they're supposed to do. And so when you create a system where the bottom line is a balanced budget, nobody complained when they're in their hour of need that government shouldn't be there for them. We have been there for the people of British Columbia, for the businesses, to make sure that we put the health and safety of British Columbians first, and to make sure that we can have as few restrictions as possible so that we can keep moving forward and keeping that sense of pride not only in ourselves but in our place. And so if a minister is to be responsible for making sure that people are safe, making sure that they are taken care of. I think that that is something that should not be penalized. And for that reason, I support the Budget Implementation Measures Act, and I look forward to hearing from others who may have differing opinions, and hope to hear from more voices of people who are a lot more supportive of these measures, because I think that it is taking us to a stronger BC for 2022 and for years to come. Thank you, Madam Speaker.